Yo, what's up? I hope you're having a good day. This is Flipping PCs Until I Buy a House. Season 2, baby! I've been dealing with a lot in my life, and on top of that, I made a stupid financial mistake, and I've just been in my head about everything, so I decided to take a little break from this series, but now I got my head back on my shoulders, at least I think so, and now I'm ready to get back to work. Some things are going to be changing, so this will basically be an introduction slash soft launch video to the new season of Flipping PCs. I'll be going over a lot in this video, so there will be timestamps throughout. I really would appreciate it though if you just watch the whole video, but I do value your time, so I understand if you skip around. This video is sponsored by SuperCDK. If you just built a new computer, whether that's a flip or one of your personal builds, and you need to activate Windows, then visit them down below. They have Windows 10 and Windows 11 keys, but before you check out, be sure to use the discount code SPLA to save some extra money on checkout. And once you get the key, activating it is super easy. Just copy and paste it straight into the window activation settings on your computer. Thank you SuperCDK for sponsoring this video, and be sure to check them out down below. So let's address the obvious. I changed the name of the series. Originally, it was Flipping PCs Until I Buy a House. And don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong with the name. I actually really liked it, but I had just one problem with it. And in my opinion, the old title was just too limiting. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, to make things simple, I just wasn't actually flipping a computer every episode. I mean, obviously that's the goal, but it's just not realistic. Sometimes I would just buy computer parts, sometimes I would clean computer parts, sometimes I'd tell you about mistakes I made, and then sometimes I would sell a computer. Basically what I'm trying to say, from now on, almost every title might be different, but there will be one thing that stays the same throughout, and that's this abbreviation. PC2H, which stands for PC to House. And in my opinion, I absolutely love that abbreviation. It's like the old title, but just simpler and shorter. About 2 weeks ago now, I made a post on my community tab, and I was asking for ideas for an abbreviation, and I really appreciate everyone that left their feedback. There were some nice ideas, but there was one comment that stood out in particular, and that was this one. I want to give a shout out to One Quiet Storm Gaming. Thank you for the input, and I really appreciate the new title. Let me know what you guys think about that abbreviation down below. And just know from now on, every time you see the abbreviation, it is my Flipping PCs Until I Buy a House series. So what really happened in the last episode, and what is this big mistake that I made? Well, for those of you that didn't watch the last episode, I made a dumb financial mistake. And to put it simply, I'm an impulsive person, especially when I'm bored. Well, your boy here ended up buying a car without even really wanting a car, and I was just bored of my previous car, and I guess I just wanted some change in my life, so I just was like, hey, let's buy a car. Looking back at it now, it was very stupid of me, and this one comment couldn't be further from the truth. It sucked for at least a week. I was just like hating myself and just thinking, dude, how dumb are you? Like, what were you thinking? Why did you do that? And it just felt like a gut punch to me, like I just robbed from my own person. But hey, obviously time has passed. I've gotten over it. And that's just life, man. At least I've learned from my mistake, and I'm just happy that I was in a position to correct my dumb mistake. What I ended up doing, I just completely paid the car off because it was more expensive for me not to pay it off. Unfortunately though, the money I used, majority of it was towards my down payment fund. I didn't completely wipe the fund out. I left myself with $1,000, but now we are kind of in the beginnings. Fresh start, I guess? So what's the goal for the new season, and how is it gonna work from now on? Well, the goal is still the same. I obviously want to buy a house, but what is the exact number that I need to buy a house? To tell you the truth, I don't know, but I'm aiming for $15,000 saved up. That number should be enough because when the time comes, I will be taking advantage of first-time homebuyer programs, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Let's hope the housing market doesn't do anything crazy again. But hey, if 15,000 isn't enough, then it's all right, baby, we'll adapt. Before we get into the meat of this first episode, I do want to thank some people that donated towards the down payment fund since the last episode. First shout out is to my coworker, Ben. Dude, if you're watching this, thanks for the $1, bro.
I got you $1.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Second shout out is to my boy Kai Burge. This is actually his second time donating, so thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And he also left a little note. He just said, this is my second time donating and I want to start PC flipping but don't know how. So can you please give me some tips? I'm Australian. First off, shout out to all my supporters in Australia. Much love to you guys. But Kai, if you're watching this, here are some quick, simple tips. First, just start by browsing your local marketplaces. I think you guys use like Gumtree down there, but anything like Facebook Marketplace will do. And then just start looking at what other people are selling, what other people are buying, look at the prices, and then also look at what kind of specs they are as well. This will give you a rough idea on what budget to cater to and kind of how much money people have around you. It won't be exact, but it'll kind of give you a rough idea on where to start. And then once you did that, just simply start buying parts. The main goal and idea behind flipping PCs, just buy the parts cheaper than what you can actually sell them for. There's obviously more to it, but you'll get better the longer you do it. The main important tip, if you really want to do it, just start. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Miguel Garcia Diaz. Thank you for the donation and the support. I really do appreciate it. Alrighty, I saved the best for last. Let's get a little drum roll action. That was my phone. Anyways, my phone is good, but I do want to give a massive shout out to Danny Outerkirk. Thank you so much for this fat donation. This man's donated $250. Sorry if I said your name wrong, my man, but I really do appreciate the donation. I'm sending a big fat thank you from my heart. And everyone watching right now, let's give Danny a big fat thank you in the comments. And really quickly, for anyone that doesn't know, if you donate, you'll get a shout out in a video and you'll also get your name put on a wall in my new house. But now, let's get to the meat of this episode. The past few days, I've been putting some offers on some PC parts and I just want to share them with you. Found this deal for a motherboard and RAM combo. The guy was asking $120 and I threw in an offer of $80. It's 16 gigabytes of RAM clocked at 3200 megahertz and it's an MSI B550 motherboard. Then I found this listing for 2070 Super. The guy was asking $200 and I threw an offer of $150. I checked eBay listings and they're selling around $175 to $200, so $150 would be a sick pickup. There were some other decent deals as well. I found this other 16 gigabyte kit of RAM and I threw in an offer of $20. The timing on this kit is pretty good, and this would be a great pickup for a budget Ryzen build. He accepted my offer of $20, and of course, I had to ask, do you have any other computer parts? He actually did happen to have some other stuff. He had 2 CPUs and then another 16 gigabyte kit of RAM. I didn't really need the CPUs, so I negotiated $45 for both kits of RAM, and I set up a time to have it delivered for when I worked later today. Sounds like that deal is basically in the bag. One of the only other good deals I found was another graphics card. The guy had originally listed it for $160 and then saw that he dropped it to $100. So I sent in an offer of $75 and it'd be really cool if he accepted. It's a 1660 and that'd be great for some of the CPUs that I have on hand. Anyways, I work in 30 minutes, so I need to start getting ready. Fingers crossed some of those deals get back to me and we pick them up. Yo, I'm at work right now. I'm outside actually. Going to my car, grabbing some cash. The guy that's selling that RAM, he's right behind me. He's meeting up with me.
Yeah.
Okay, there's that. And then if you want to look at them first, or... Yeah, cool. I'll take a look at them. All right, ladies with gentle hands, I just got off work and that guy with the motherboard and CPU combo deal, he actually accepted my offer of $95. So we're on our way to go get that right now. Just got to get cash real quick. Oh. So there's that, if you want to count that.
Sweet.
Deal secured. Nice little B550 motherboard and 16 gigs of RAM. This has been good because I've been needing DDR4 RAM. Let's go, baby. A few days have passed since I picked up those RAM deals and that motherboard and RAM combo, but a couple days ago, I picked up another really good deal.
I didn't know you lived in Utah.
Have you seen me?
Yeah.
Really?
Wait, let me look. Wait. I had no idea that you lived in Utah. What the heck?
GPU secured. Not sure if you guys heard too much in that little chat that I had with the buyer or the seller, but he recognized me on YouTube. Not sure if he really recognized me, but he just asked if I do YouTube because I asked if I could record. That was pretty sick. Well, all those parts that I secured, I tested them out and everything is looking really good. Luckily, we didn't get scammed at all. We got those 2 16 gigabyte kits of RAM for $22.50 each. One is 3200 megahertz and another is 3000 megahertz, but it's also G-Skill RGB RAM. And then we also got that MSI motherboard and RAM combo for $95. Originally, the seller just completely ignored my $80 offer, so I just sent in another offer of $95, and luckily they accepted that. And honestly guys, I really lucked out. At first I said it was a 16 gigabyte kit clocked at 3200 megahertz. Well, turns out it wasn't even 16 gigs, it was 32 gigabytes, and it was not at 3200 megahertz, it's clocked at 3600 megahertz. I don't know if I read the ad wrong or the seller just didn't know, but hey, freaking W, baby. And the last deal is that GPU. It's a GTX 1070 Ti, and I scored that bad boy for 80 buckaroos. When I first saw the ad, I was thinking of offering lower, but it was already at $80 and I didn't want to risk losing it, so I just went in willing to pay asking price. When the seller got back to me, I think they probably got a lot of offers because they were trying to get me to pay more, but I just stood my ground and I wasn't going above $80 because that's what they originally listed it at. And hey, we scored it for 80 bucks. It is quite dusty though, especially in the fin stacks and just like on the fans. And turns out a little piece of the bracket is snapped off. So good thing I didn't pay more than $80. When I picked up those first RAM deals, I said I needed DDR4 and I was really excited. But turns out I honestly don't. What I need is power supplies, but what I really need is to sell some PCs. Let me show you the inventory we're working with going into season 2 of flipping PCs until I buy a house. Well, here it is. It doesn't look like much because I don't have all my cases in here, or this room would be really cluttered. And some of these parts are just for my YouTube channel, so I will only cover parts that I have available to flip. Let's just start here. This is basically my old stuff. I have a bin full of DDR3 RAM ranging from 4GB sticks to 8GB sticks, and I got them for pretty good prices. Then these are my DDR3 CPUs. It's mainly i5s and a few i7s, but nothing too crazy. I have a few that are K variants, which is kind of cool, but I'm done using DDR3. I think I will most likely stop buying DDR3 parts unless I can get them for stupid cheap, but since DDR5 is becoming more mainstream, DDR3 has to go. Now let's get to the better parts, starting with the CPUs. Let's talk about some free ones, baby. I have this Ryzen 7 3700X and this Ryzen 5 1600AF. The Ryzen 7 was my barber's old CPU, and he just gave it to me because I helped upgrade his new PC, and then I also fixed one of his old ones, and he ended up giving it to his little sister. And then the Ryzen 5 1600AF is actually from my man Shane. If you guys don't know, he's been a long-time supporter of my channel, and we actually met up in real life a little bit ago, and he just gave me this little Ryzen 5. Now for ones that I paid for. I have this Ryzen 7 1700, this Ryzen 3 2200G, and then two of Zach's favorite CPUs, the Ryzen 5 3600. I also have two other Ryzen 5s, and they are the 2600, and I actually bought them in a pretty good deal with these MSI B450 motherboards and two of the stock coolers. For my motherboard selection, it's honestly pretty dry. For my AM4 boards, I have those two MSI B450s that came with the CPUs, and then I have that MSI B550 that I just recently picked up. And for the last two, I have this ITX B450 and another B550 board, except this one was bought for my personal PC a while ago, so I didn't get a crazy deal on it or anything. And finally, for my Intel motherboards, this is it. I have three. First is this ASRock H410, and to be honest, it might be broken. It completely killed the 10th gen i3 that I had a while ago, and I haven't tested it since. If you want it, let me know. You just have to pay shipping, but I'll give it to you. Then I have this B365 board from ASUS. Not sure if it works, I don't have a CPU to test it, but this one was also free from someone named Animal in my Discord server. Thank you, man. The last Intel board is this Z170 from my man Shane once again, and this one works, I know for a fact because I tested it. I don't want to bore you with every little computer part that I have, but I actually do want to show you every little screw that I have. But now let me just show you the GPUs. Starting here, this is another old pile. It consists of some old Radeon GPUs like this R9 270X, and then I also have some old GTX 560s. I honestly need to get rid of this stuff. And tell me why I have three GTX 970s. I need to sell these things. Now for the fun GPUs. First is the GTX 1070 Ti that I just picked up. Then I have an RX 480 and a RX 590. And now for the best GPUs that I have this RX 5700 XT, two RTX 3060s, which I scored for some insane prices, and then I have my RTX 3060 Ti. You've probably noticed that I've had some of these parts for a while, like the RTX 3060 Ti, the RTX 3060, and that Ryzen 7 3700X. And to be real with you guys, I've just been lazy or slacking or whatever. I just haven't been doing what I need to do. It's been hard for me to build PCs, flip them, upload once a week on YouTube, and have a full-time job on top of that. But hey, no more excuses. And that's why right now we're going to build the first PC build of the new season for flipping PCs. Starting off this build, I'm going to be using that Ryzen 7 3700X. We're coming out swinging with the first PC build. I'm going to be pairing that with the MSI B550 motherboard and RAM combo. And let me tell you, finding out that RAM was a 32GB kit was insane. And then also finding out it was 3600 megahertz, these parts will pair very nicely together. Unfortunately, prices on storage drives aren't as cheap as they were a couple months ago, but luckily I have one left from when they were cheap. It's the A60 1TB from Silicon Power, and that's what I'm gonna be using. And then the last important part for this build is the GPU. And for that, I'm pairing it with the RTX 3060 Ti. These are basically the same parts that I used in my insane console killer PC video, but this time I'm using a different case and I'm gonna be selling it this time. Well, hopefully, I mean, that's the goal. Let's just build this thing. PC builder Elijah here. Your boy made a mistake. I thought this Montech Air 100 was an ATX case, but it's micro ATX. But luckily, I have an ATX case on hand, so we're all good. Well, the first PC build of the new season is done, and in my opinion, it looks pretty clean. Other than my little mistake with thinking I had the right case, everything went good with the build. It cost me $470.45. Basically all the parts in the build are kind of like a black aesthetic, so I decided to mix it up with some white cable extensions, and I like how it turned out. Let me know what you think down below. I also didn't go too in depth with the testing because I already tested these parts out, but I did make sure everything was running stable, and here are some quick benchmarks for you. Fortnite at 1440p with performance mode enabled, average 194 FPS. Apex at 1440p with high settings and shadows off, it averaged 170 FPS, and Cyberpunk averaged 64 FPS at 1440p with ultra settings. This PC build consists of some really solid parts. It has a Ryzen 7 3700X, 32GB of RAM, 1TB SSD, and it's on AM4, so it has a really nice upgrade path. And on top of that, it has a really solid 800 watt fully modular power supply, and it's tier A on the power supply list. The case looks pretty good too. It's not the Montech one that I wanted to use, but hey, that Gambius one looks pretty solid. The pictures turned out all right, and this thing should sell, but I'm gonna be saving that for episode 2. This episode was far too long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you're excited for season 2 of Flipping PCs until I buy a house. Anyways, smash that like button and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss when I release the next episode. And if you want to catch up on the rest of the episodes from season 1, then click on the screen right now.